Welcome back to another episode of the Dig Deep the Mining podcast. And today's guest is Michael Wood, who's the co-founder and CEO of Reyna Gold Corp, a gold exploration company focused on a district scale discoveries on two major gold belts in Mexico. Michael has an economic and business administration background, but started his career in the Metropolitan Police before going into mining. And he's going to be talking about Reyna Gold and how they've developed as a company and what the outlook looks for them. So that's welcome, Michael, to the podcast. How you doing, Michael?
Good, Rob. No, thanks for having me.
No, appreciate your time as well. Obviously, we were just speaking off air. You're based in Hong Kong at the moment. So just wondering if you can just tell us a little bit about your career, your background, before we go into talking more about Reyna Gold.
Yeah, of course. I started off, like you said, as a economics graduate. I spent a few years working in the city straight after that. And at 25, quit and went to join the Metropolitan Police. I was there for 5 years, was a detective, great experience. And at 30, moved to Hong Kong to do an MBA. And my classmate was Jorge, who's my business partner. We set up Reyna Gold and Reyna Silver and been focused on mining pretty much ever since. So, varied background in a few different locations. But yeah, great to be in the mining space now. I think we're in a nice inflection point for mining where it's coming back into vogue. Money's starting to flow back into the sector. There's been massive investment for a long time. And hopefully, it's a good decade ahead for mining.
Certainly. I just wonder if you can just tell us a little bit about Reyna Gold as a company. You're obviously co-founder as well. So I just wonder if you just tell us a little bit about that journey, starting the company up.
Yeah. We set up Reyna Silver initially with Dr. Peter McGaw, who's the co-founder of Mag Silver. And we got two assets out of Mag, which were kind of dormant, sitting there in Mag, getting very little attention due to the success of Juanicipio, and set up Reyna Silver. And as we got to know Peter better and better, Peter really emphasized to us, we should do a gold exploration company as well. The potential for gold exploration in northwestern Mexico, in Peter's view, and a lot of geologists' view, is vast. And if you look at the trends that are developing in northwestern Mexico, there's about 50 million ounces of gold now already being discovered on these two major gold trends, and that's mainly in the last 30 years since the signing of NAFTA. And a lot of geologists believe that these gold trends are extensions of the gold trends in the west coast of America. About 5% of gold ever produced has come out of the west coast of America, so substantial deposits. So, we're quite excited. We put together 57,000 hectares on these two trends, so big land packages. And for now, we're purely focused on the Gloria, our flagship property, which is a 24,000 hectare property. And we really have found gold, copper, silver at surface all across this property. We've got 12 target areas across this 24,000 hectares. And now we're honing into an area, the northwestern part. It's about 1/3 of the property, about 8,000 hectares, 30 square kilometers. It's about the size as Manhattan. I give as a reference point to investors to give some context. And on that part of the property, we've got 5 main targets that we've done extensive work on over the course of 22. We're doing a juice polarization at 4 of them right now, and then we'll recommence drilling, hopefully early in the new year. Hopefully in Jan we get the rig turning again for these targets, and we'll do a substantial drill program over the first half of 23. The aim is to start showing to people in this part of the world in Sonora, we're blessed to be in a location with good infrastructure. It's a low-cost mining jurisdiction. We have good infrastructure in place. These are oxidized deposits. So the aim is to build up mineralization close to surface. And then hopefully we can advance the property pretty quickly to show that, we have multiple economic deposits on the Gloria.
You're focused in northwest Mexico. Can you explain why you focused on that part of the world for gold exploration?
Yeah, certainly. And it's really, we looked at it and we believe it's a major developing gold trend, and not just gold actually as well, Rob. There's also a lot of silver deposits, a lot of copper deposits being found in this part of the world. And we could go in and pick up a lot of land. So we went in and we picked up 57,000 hectares of land. You can't go into Nevada or Red Lake, these established gold districts, and pick up that kind of area. And if you can, it's been picked over multiple times by multiple exploration teams. So, we've gone in and we've got strategic land close to the big mines in the area, where we have a good indication at surface of showings of mineralization and structures. And then we've put together what we think is a world-class exploration team to go and explore. And we're very blessed we raised 10.5 million at IPO, so we have good access to capital. And so we put together everything we wanted: good land packages, good exploration team, good capital. And you can see already over the course of 22, it's been a pretty brutal market for juniors, and our share price has suffered. But geologically, we've made great progress. We've already got some good drill results. We've advanced. We keep finding more and more targets, and very excited about going into 23 and the path forward for Reyna Gold.
Yeah. Can you explain your district scale exploration at Gloria and your strategy for making discoveries?
Yeah, certainly. And I think one thing that Peter McGaw really emphasized to us was, you want to, as an explorer, you want to look big and you want to go big. And the big miners in this world, there's so much economies of scale in mining. A big mining company much prefers to acquire 5 million ounce deposit than 5 1 million ounce deposits. They know that it will be a better investment for them down the line. So if we can go and start to show to the miners and all kinds of investors, I think more capital is starting to flow back to the sector. Look, we have multiple economic ore bodies on this property. It'll start to show a true district scale area opening up to the market and to new investors. Then that really catapults us to a different league in the explorers. So that's what our strategy was from day one. That's what we did, and we put together land packages that we thought were capable of providing that to us. And so that's been our strategy on Reyna Gold and also Reyna Silver. We'll also focus at Reyna Silver on putting potentially big silver deposits together. So we really want to emphasize that we're not just going in there trying to prove out a few 100,000 ounces. We've gone in with big plans and hopefully get big results. So, we're very happy with the targeting that's been done to date around that. And the way we're doing it, we're not just going in with we're using a lot of geoscience with this. We've done satellite imaging, we've done MAG, we're doing IP now. But also we have a lot of local geologists that know these deposits. So we've hired local geologists from Fresnillo, from Agnico Eagle, from Alamos Gold, all the big miners operating on these trends who've worked at the big deposits. They've worked at La Herradura, they've worked at Mulatos, they've worked at La India. So, we've got guys that have been there at these deposits, have developed these big deposits, and then we've brought them in. Hopefully they can do the same for us. So we're combining, the geoscience with the local expertise of the terrain in Sonora. And that's been our strategy, and we're very happy with the initial work, and hopefully we can advance that substantially in 23.
You've obtained some great drill results. 95 meters at 1.45 grams of gold and 5.5 of 935 grams per ton. What are your plans for the next phase of drilling?
Yeah, so we the 59 meter hole of basically 1.45 grams gold, which was virtually from surface, 1 meter from surface. We've done a lot of follow work around that, Rob, and we've now got a structure of about 1 kilometer in length that produced that initial drill result. So that drill result, 60 meters, virtually 1.5. Now we've tracked that structure at surface a kilometer. So we want to step out along that. With the IP there is in process, and hopefully that also gives a good blueprint for this drilling. And we want to start to show people, we've got a potential economic pit style scenario here at what's called La Republicana. But we've also advanced La Republicana substantially. We're now working about 3 kilometers north of this initial drilling and finding similar structures. So, we're in a position where we've got a lot of targets at La Republicana, and we want to show, okay, La Republicana is an economic gold body in its own right. We've got 2 new targets that have not been drilled yet. At Western and Las Carmelitas, there's been a lot of field work done on those over the course of 22 and some geophysics. And we're very excited to start drilling those. And again, we want to start to show to people, like in Western, we've got a potential economic open pit style deposit, and in Las Carmelitas as well. And then the 4th priority target is the main zone. This is where most of the historic work was done. There's a known hydrothermal breccia holding gold that runs about 260 meters in length and varies in kind of 20 to 30 meters of width. So, we already know there's in the region, depending on the grade, it hasn't been extensively drilled, but somewhere in the region of 50 to 100,000 ounces of gold there. But we also want to start to look deeper. And what excited us about this main zone was that 5.5 meter intercept of almost a kilo of silver in that drilling, virtually again from surface. So we're getting very high grade silver in this part of the property with copper. There was almost 1% copper also in that. So that's a different hydrothermal breccia. It's a different breccia structure, no gold, but good grades of silver and copper. And that seems to be of a more vertical breccia. So we also want to start to follow that down at greater depth. So the IP, start to show it down to about 200 meters is is the study we're doing. And hopefully we can start to add more ounces there. So they're the four main targets, Rob, that in this next phase of drilling, we want to start to show to the market, each in their own right could be an economic open pit style deposit. Let's Carmelitas, actually, just to touch on that, is a very interesting area and potentially the kind of most bonanza grade material we'll find. We're getting extremely high levels of mercury, antimony, barium, and strontium, and you get these enrichment zones in hot spring cell deposits, which are very common in Nevada. Right, so again, it's similar geology to Nevada. There's about 10 being found in Nevada. And what you find is we're finding mercury grades up to 7,000 parts per million, so 0.7% mercury, which is extremely high levels of mercury at surface. And this is stripping out the gold. When we're getting the high levels of mercury, there's no gold. But what you see in these systems is the mercury will fall out of the system at a bit of depth, and then the gold will come through. You can get bonanza grade gold come through. But what we are getting with the mercury, which is very interesting, isn't getting stripped out, is good levels of copper and silver. And we're getting chalcocite and malachite, which are great hosts for copper in this part of the system. And we're finding that they're disseminated as well. It's not just we're finding this in the veining, we're also finding it in the host rock, which is great to see, right? Because then you can add bulk tonnage pretty quickly. So this is a part of the property that the team's very excited about. It's not been drilled ever. And it's the most covered, it's the flattest part of the property. There's a lot of cover. There's volcanic cover there. So we want to do the IP, and then we'll probably do actually quite a lot of extensive trenching there as well as initial drilling, looking under that cover. So that's an area of the property the team's excited about. I was asking the team, I was there about a month ago at site, and I was asking them, where do you think, we're going to find the most metal? And it was quite split. Some of the guys were saying they're Republicana, some Western, some Las Carmelitas. But they're three great targets, each in their own right, which is great to see. And this is only in like 1/3 of our property, right? So, we also have plenty of other targets. The Alchinade mine, which is an Alamos gold mine, just sits 1.5 kilometers south of our property. That we've got some targets down there that we want to get to. And, if we can start to prove up some good mineralization down there, it will be a good tie-in with that mine that's sitting there on care and maintenance. So a lot of targets and great team. We're blessed to have a great team on the ground out there doing the work.
Is there any other companies surrounding your asset, either mining or drilling?
Yeah, Fresnillo are the main guys in that area. Fresnillo have 3 operating gold mines, all within 60 kilometers of La Gloria, including the biggest gold mine in Mexico, La Herradura, which produces 400,000 to 500,000 ounces of gold per year. They're the main guys on the Mojave Sonora Mega Shoe and are active. They have a number of claims. They're actively working on some other ones. Alamos just mined out the Alchinade mine in 2020. It got mined out. They were active there. So they're the main guys on this trend. The San Francisco mine is further south. That's really an old mine. It's still operating. It was a Gold Corp mine, Timmins Gold. It's now in the hands of Magna Gold. That's also still a producing mine about 50, 60 kilometers south of us. And then further north on the trend, Ross Beatty's Equinox Gold also have the Mesquite mine, where they've had a lot of exploration success actually recently. That's just across the border in the US, but still on the same trend. So, there's some big names operating on the trend on the Mojave Sonora Mega Shear, and it's still a very early stage trend. La Herradura being the biggest one was discovered as part of the Penmont, the Newmont Peñoles JV back in the mid-90s. And is a monster deposit. It's actually amazing. I'm keen to go and have a look at it. Hopefully, some point 23. But it's a 1.1 kilometer deep open pit, so a monster open pit, and they keep finding more and more material there. Yeah, but Fresnillo, main guys in town, and interestingly, Fresnillo is listed in London. Rob, they're viewed as the biggest primary silver producer in the world, but now they make more money from gold than silver, and mainly gold from this trend. So yeah, it's a lot of activity, and it's a great, northwestern Mexico. There's Alamos have Mulatos in the Yaca Grande. Over on the other trend, Sierra Madre Gold and Silver Belt. Agricole Eagle run the La India mine over there. It was great to see Agricole Eagle recently invested in a JV with Teck, also in northwestern Mexico, into a copper project, which is great to see. One of the big guys making new investment into the area, because some international investors have got a bit jumpy about Mexico over the last couple of years, but that was great to see, one of the big guys making further investment.
Yeah. And also, what about infrastructure, surrounding infrastructure? Obviously, if you move further into the mining life cycle of the asset.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a key part of exploration and development, which I think is sometimes overlooked. So particularly one of the things that attracted us to the Gloria land package was the infrastructure. We're 15 kilometers north from the city of Caborca, which is a mining town. A lot of the Fresnillo workers live in Caborca, commute up and down to the three properties. There's a lot of mining, labor, and services there. We have the Alchinate mine just sitting south of us. That was plugged into the grid, so we could easily extend, get power onto our property. Has access to water. There's a lot of aquifers in the area. That's how Alamos supplied water to their project. We could tap the same aquifer, or we think there's also aquifers on our project. So we had the key elements for the infrastructure perspective. And to give some context, Rob, the Alamos mine was built by Capital Gold in 2009. It was designed to do up to 125,000 ounces of gold per year, heap leach processing. It cost Capital Gold $36 million to build, right? So, it's not like you're looking at, okay, let's say in today's money, 50, 60 million, but for a junior, it's actually digestible to get to that stage of production. That's not our plan. Plan A is we explore, we get a good discovery and we sell off as all juniors plan. But it gives you that optionality that if the market isn't there, if you're not getting enough with the value you think the asset deserves, you can go down plan B and actually develop the mine yourself and take it into production.
You raised 10.5 million Canadian in your IPO with a number of institutional investors. You still have a strong cash flow position. What are your plans for 2023 financially?
Yeah, exactly. So we've got about 6 million cash in the bank today, so we're still well capitalized, and we want to do this extensive drilling in the first half of 23. And then hopefully we get a nice re-rating in our share price. Unfortunately, our share price today is 16 cents. We listed at 40. We definitely, unfortunately, we were holding kind of the 30-cent range until the whole market collapsed in April. Then it's been pretty tough since then, trading in the mid-teens most of the time. So hopefully just get through this tax loss selling period. I think we're unfortunately suffering some tax loss selling right now. Hopefully that's done kind of end of next week. And then, get positive news flow into the market, get a re-rating. And then I think, at some point in 23, we will go back to the market, but hopefully a lot higher price, on the back of this substantial drill program in the first half. So, that's kind of where we're looking at from a corporate perspective. We've got a lot of very exciting targets. And I think, we start to show to the market multiple developing economic ore body style deposits, and we'll get a substantial re-rating. I mean, our market cap today is at 16 cents is 10.4 million Canadian dollars. We've got 6 million in the bank. We're trading at EV of 4.4 million. We've already showed to the market we've got a 60-meter drill hole from surface of 1.5 grams. So we're optimistic. We can get a nice re-rating. I think for people new to the story, this is a great entry point.
What is the relationship between Reyna Silver and Reyna Gold? And not obviously stating the obvious.
Yeah, I mean, like Jorge and me. So Jorge is the chairman of Reyna Gold. I'm the CEO. Jorge is the CEO of Reyna Silver. I'm the CFO. Peter McGall is chief technical advisor to both. And we have a lot of the same geological staff on the ground in Mexico. So there's some similarities. We called Reyna Gold the same name. I think sometimes it causes some confusion. But we wanted to explain that it was really the same team, but we're looking for different metals. So there's a lot of similarities, and we're both looking for big district scale potential discoveries that can be kind of intergenerational assets. That's kind of our focus. So a lot of similarities, and we're making good progress on both fronts. I think the silver market's starting to come back. We've had a nice move back above $23 in silver. We all know silver could pop a lot. I think there's increasing supply issues in silver, and it's a lot smaller market, right, than gold. So we'll see how silver plays out over the next 6 months, but it's looking quite positive on that front.
Yeah. So, and lastly, what's the outlook for the company over the sort of next 6 to 9 months?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we definitely want to start to show people, in this next phase of drilling, multiple good results for multiple targets. And then from a corporate perspective, we want to get what we think is back to a kind of fair valuation for our equity before we have to go back to the market. And really, we've been very blessed that, we managed to raise that money before the market turned south, and we've managed to kind of ride out the storm. If you're raising capital over the last 2 or 3 months, it's been pretty dilutive. Even for good, successful companies, they've had to take quite a hit to their share count. So hopefully, market plays in our favor. We have a better environment in 23 for exploration capital, and we've delivered meaningful results. And then, we will at some point go back. I think, let's see whether it's like, ideally, we kind of got a timeline. We go back to the market, after the summer, which we developed a lot of positive news flow, and kind of, we go back September, October 23 and raise more capital. But if we get a lot of good news out before, and we'll assess the situation and where we're at. Obviously, as an exploration company, we don't want to get too short on capital. We're in a nice position right now, but it's always good to have the capital there. Once you start to get too close to not having what you want to do your work, then you start to get issues on that front, and the capital can be more expensive. So yeah, we want to meaningfully advance the property, hope the market plays ball, and then we'll be at a lot nicer valuation than we are today.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time, Michael. If our audience wants to reach out to you, how can they go about doing that? Are you across any certain social media platforms?
Yeah, no, please. Any questions? Don't hesitate to reach out on LinkedIn, Twitter. We have I'm on there personally, and Reyna Gold, and also my email. Don't hesitate to reach out. Just michael@reynagold.com. If anyone has any questions, please drop me a line. And always delighted to talk about Reyna Gold. Any questions? Yeah, we can exchange emails or jump on a quick call. So yeah, thanks a lot, Rob, for having me and getting the Reyna Gold story out.
Yeah, no worries. And I would like to appreciate your time. Perhaps you want to come on sometime next year to give us an update. Be appreciated. And obviously, I like as before we obviously started recording, I said I like the junior miners coming onto the podcast because it gives them a bit of a platform to make the mining community aware of what you're doing. I know it's a tough market, but obviously wish you all well for 2023.
No, thanks, Rob. Yeah, it'd be great to come back in 2023. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for listening. Appreciate your continued support. Please share this episode amongst everyone that you know within the mining community. It's really important that we get these junior miners the exposure that they deserve. It's a tough market. So appreciate your continued support, and please share this episode. So until next time, happy mining.